India is drawing a red line in its economic partnership with Southeast Asia. This is not your usual diplomatic spat. India is openly threatening to walk away from a free trade deal with ASEAN, and the ripple effects could hit billions in commerce. Today we unpack how things got so bad between India and ASEAN, why this matters now, and what it could mean for the region and global trade. Hello, I'm Gunjan Handa and let's get into it. Let's begin right at the heart of the current drama. India's Commerce Ministry did not mince words. The ASEAN-India Free Trade Agreement, once hailed as a game changer, is now branded as a quote $45 billion trade disaster. Officials say India's trade deficit with ASEAN has exploded over the past decade, soaring from just $5 billion in 2010 and 11 to a staggering $45 billion this year. That's not some accounting blip. This deficit is bigger than India's with the European Union, even closing in on India's trade gap with China. Frustrated, India has issued a clear warning. Unless things change, it's willing to walk away altogether, a step that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. So what exactly happened? Back in 2010, India and the 10 ASEAN nations, countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand and Vietnam signed a free trade agreement meant to supercharge economic ties. The vision was simple: reduce tariffs, open markets, and let business flow both ways. But the reality turned out messier. On one side, Indian imports from ASEAN grew rapidly thanks in part to slash tariffs on 74% of goods coming into India. On the other, Indian companies ran into tough barriers trying to sell into ASEAN. Things like confusing export paperwork, local quotas, and non-tariff barriers in key sectors such as agriculture and pharma. The result? ASEAN goods flooded Indian markets, but Indian exports struggled to win much ground in Southeast Asia. There's another twist. Many in India allege that Chinese goods are routinely shipped into India disguised as ASEAN products. Thanks to lax enforcement of rules of origin, the theory goes like this. China, facing higher tariffs, simply reroutes its electronics, machinery and finished goods through partner countries like Vietnam or Malaysia, then waves them through customs tax-free. This undercuts domestic manufacturing and derails India's push to become a global factory under the policies like Make in India. This isn't India's first time playing hardball on trade. Back in 2019, after 8 years of negotiations, 15 Asian Pacific economies, including China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and 10 ASEAN members, inked the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or the RCEP, agreement. This was a colossal deal, covering nearly a third of the world's population and global GDP. But India walked away, and looking back, that decision seems strategically sound. India's concern about potential economic imbalances, especially a surge in Chinese imports without corresponding benefits, have largely been validated by how RCEP's gain have disproportionately skewed towards China. Moving our focus back to the Indian deal with ASEAN, Indian officials say that the deal is badly lopsided. They are calling out ASEAN for stalling on reforms and point to the fact that while India opened up more than 70% of its market to ASEAN, some of its partners only reciprocated on a little over half. Specifically, the government is demanding stricter rules to clarify and clearly identify products' true country of origin, easier entry for Indian exports, and the big one, inclusion of services like tech, consulting, and skilled labor, which are India's strong suits. While there have been 9 rounds of review talks, Indian negotiators keep hitting a wall. ASEAN, meanwhile, points to sensitivities in their own markets. It is a classic case of divergent priorities. Southeast Asian countries want to keep their markets protected where they are vulnerable, just as India wants to shield its own industries from competition it sees as unfair or overwhelming. But now India's patience is wearing thin. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has upped the rhetoric, openly calling the deal lopsided and even describing ASEAN at one point as, quote, China's B team. On the table is the explicit threat to invoke the Pact's exit clause, a formal legal move that would give 1 year's notice before the entire trade arrangement is dissolved. Make no mistake, A rupture here would be a big deal. ASEAN is India's fourth largest trading partner, handling over $130 billion in goods and services every year. Indian industry groups, especially in auto parts, electronics, and textile, have pressed for action to stem what they describe as an unfair tide of Asian imports. Meanwhile, Southeast Asian exporters of palm oil, rubber, electronics, and consumer goods count India as a major market. Also, let's not forget geopolitics. At a time when supply chains are shifting due to global tensions and countries are rethinking dependencies, especially on China, India's willingness to pull out of a free trade deal signals a strategic pivot. It is a strong message that New Delhi will prioritize interest-first trade even if it means risking friction with key regional partners. The ASEAN reaction is, as expected, mixed. While some countries, especially those who export large volumes to India, worry about the economic fallout, others are digging in their heels, reluctant to expose their own industries to more outside competition or to make sweeping changes to a deal they consider settled. For now, formal negotiations to review the FTA continue. Indian officials, however, insist future access for ASEAN goods simply won't be possible without a real opening for Indian exports. If India follows through with its threat to walk away, a one-year countdown starts, after which tariffs and trade barriers snap back into place. That would hit Asian exporters trying to keep costs low and could push some global companies to reroute supply chains or look elsewhere. It might also embolden India to take a tougher stance in ongoing and future trade talks with the European Union, the UK, and other potential partners. In other words, we are at a pivotal moment for India's trade diplomacy and maybe even for how future trade deals are negotiated across Asia. Stepping back, what does all this signify? India's hardball is about more than just trade numbers. It shows a new self-assurance in putting its own interests first and being less willing to compromise if agreements are seen as one-sided. Some experts call this the beginning of a global trend, a trend where large emerging economies push for more reciprocal, pragmatic trade and aren't shy about using the threat of exit to get it. ASEAN, for this part, faces a balancing act. It risks losing a critical market and a valuable geopolitical partner if it fails to adapt. At the same time, it is grappling with its own challenges, including economic recovery after the pandemic, pressure from China, and internal competition among its members. The Indian-ASEAN standoff isn't just a regional business story. It would set the tone for how the next generation of trade deals are crafted, not just in Asia, but around the world. As India hardballs its way through trade talks, the lesson is clear. The age of automatic market access is ending. In its place, a new era of tough bargaining is taking shape, and the ripple effects could be felt much farther than South and Southeast Asia. I am Gunjan Handa for The Asian Chronicle.